Welcome to Weekday Somatics. Some really truly wonderful observations and sharing in the messenger group. And so thank you for that. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we can explore that a little bit today. So we can let's begin by committing. Let's begin with a commitment to truth, a commitment to clarity, a commitment to unconditional peace. And let's choose a posture that we are guided in this moment to inhabit from this commitment. So really just sense within yourself. I'm genuinely asking that you make this commitment. I'm asking, even if you don't know, you say, I don't know how. Just look within yourself and find where there is a yes to this commitment. Because there's this very deep longing for truthfulness, for stability, for clarity, for true peace. And that within you, which has this deep longing, already is that. It already knows the truth of what this longing is calling for. So the conditioned mind, which might argue or doubt or fear, it's okay. You don't need to give any concern to that right now. Just say yes to that within you, which does know, which is able to commit. And choose this posture, whether you're lying down or sitting, reclining, that you are moved and inspired in this moment to choose because you have a sense that this will support you in this inquiry. In honoring this commitment. So what does this mean? That's the nature of a commitment, is that we make the commitment without fully knowing in advance. It's an act of faith. Because there's something within us that does know the truth. There's something within us that knows because it recognizes that what I've been doing, the struggle, the seeking, straining, is not helping, will not solve this deep longing, will not take me home. Now, there's something about this commitment that is very powerful, and it connects us to a purity that transcends our ideas, and it transcends time. So again, even if the conditioned mind is doing somersaults and trying to figure this out, that's okay. You don't need to give attention to that. Just trust what is true within you. Trust this deeper longing. Trust this commitment. Commitment. What is this commitment? It's a commitment to unconditional peace. And by the way, you can rephrase that however you want. You can call it unconditional love. You can call it unconditional ease. You could call it true freedom. You could call it liberation. You could call it being okay. You could call it being truly yourself. And recognize that this truth, this commitment transcends all ideas, all structures, all judgments, all fears, all anxieties. I want you to recognize that this truly does connect you to something that is so pure, so honest, so transparent, that nothing can harm it. Nothing, 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 nothing at all can harm it. Look and see in your direct experience what I'm pointing to. This has you. It supports you always, always, no matter what. It's always here. This longing, this deep, sincere, heartfelt prayer is always being sung from your heart, from your soul. Sometimes it seems loud and sometimes it's so quiet that you can always hear it. Even if it's the faintest whisper, it's whispering peace. Be still. Now, I want you to really take a look. I want you to really sincerely look at this piece, the truth of this piece, the reality of this piece, the reality of whatever you call this. And I'm going to invite us to tell a truth beyond, perhaps beyond any truth that we've ever really told to ourselves about this. This isn't a truth that we can tell in words. It's a truth that we have to tell at a very subtle level, at the level of our soul. Look at this piece, and I'm going to invite you to ask some questions. First of all, let me just clarify, because some of you may still have doubts that you're giving attention to. I want to make this really clear. This is not something you can earn. This is not something that you can deserve. This is not something that you can get closer to. It's not something that you can fall from. You cannot fall from grace. See how all the doubts have to do with that. They have to do with, it's not here. I'm not good enough. I've fallen. I don't know how. I'll never make it. I'm abandoned. I failed. I'm a sinner. They're all variations on this theme. A hardened, cynical mistrust of life, of the innate truthfulness of life, which flows through every moment of our lives, but we overlook it because we give attention to these doubts, which have no substance whatsoever. So let's actually take a step back and look at that. Look at the doubts, because the doubts are here. I like the one that wasn't voiced as a doubt, but I look at myself. The old me would look at myself now and say, I'm brainwashed. See, there's a doubt. The doubt is, I could be harmed. I could make a mistake. I could sin. I could fall from grace. I could do something wrong. There's something wrong with me. I'm bad. Look at what the nature of these doubts is. And all of us have them, so don't say that you don't. This is an enormous opportunity, so really just receive it. See the doubts that you have, however they are worded, however they are felt, however you perceive them, and look to see that their nature is exactly as I've been pointing to. in all of these meetings. You can look directly for yourself and see the truth of this, because you've developed and cultivated this sensitivity, this somatic awareness that allows you to really perceive from this stillness, so that you can recognize what is the actual nature of the doubt. There's a thought, there's a memory, there's an image, there's a sensation. There is nothing whatsoever that connects these. They are unrelated phenomena. There is nothing that connects them. There is nothing that ties them together. There is nothing that props any of them up. They are like wisps of wind, or like eddies in the flow. They have no independent reality. Look and see that that is true in your actual direct experience right now. And then give yourself permission to do something very powerful, very courageous, and very real, which is an act of love. It's an act of true love. Which is to finally tell the truth about it and stop grappling with them, stop grasping at them, stop wrestling with them, stop trying to solve it, trying to fix it, trying to understand it, trying to reconcile it. Just finally tell the truth that none of the doubts will offer you what it is that you truly long for, which is this unconditional peace. And only you can choose unconditional peace, and you can choose it now, simply by remaining true to that unconditional peace. Now, if that's not yet clear to you, then just continue. Just ignore the words that I say from now on, and just remain with that inquiry. Just look at the nature of the doubts. See that they are insubstantial. See that all that is happening is that you are indulging a habit, and thereby reinforcing the false sense that that habit has some kind of independent reality, that there is something behind the doubt, when in fact there is nothing whatsoever behind the doubt. Just look relentlessly. Do not stop looking until you are satisfied that you cannot find anything there. Only then can you truly drop it. When you have satisfied yourself that you cannot find the independent substance to these doubts and fears and worries, now we are ready to really, truly honor our commitment on a profound level. Let me remind you of the value and benefit of choosing to remain as restfully still at a physical level as is possible without indulging habits of restraint. So remember, gentleness is very important. If you find that you are straining, if you're becoming distracted or overwhelmed by your experience, then be honest about that and take a moment to ensure that you are being gentle enough, setting yourself up to have a clearer sense of the support that's here in the physical realm. This is important. If you don't give yourself that at this physical level, at this manifest level, you're making it harder for yourself. Not impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but just harder. So let's look at this commitment, this heartfelt longing for unconditional peace, unconditional freedom, truth, unconditional love, to really know that fully. Now, how can we know that fully? Let's just look at the actual experience. So recently I've been suggesting this possibility of offering. And my proposal is that a life of uninterrupted offering, devotion, surrender is the fulfillment of that desire. So what is it that you cannot offer? What is it you're unwilling to offer? What is it that you are afraid to offer? What do I mean offer? I mean to make an offering, to make an offering. So this is something that's understood by people in many traditions, to make an offering. But let's look at it, because many of us have lost touch with that. What is it to make an offering? What is it to sacrifice? See how distorted our view of sacrifice has become? Because I use the word sacrifice. Does that resonate a little bit differently than the word offering? Does it resonate a little bit differently than the word surrender? Does it resonate a little bit differently than the words unconditional love? It's all pointing to the same thing. So look at where there seems to be a difference, a hesitation on your part in your willingness to truly let go, to truly trust, to truly live a life of faith, a life of devotion, a life of surrender, a life of offering. There's hesitation because there's doubt. The doubt, and I think it's pretty safe to say that doubt is something along the lines of, there's not enough for me. I'm not okay. I'm not good enough. Then I won't be happy. I have to work hard to secure my interests. These are some variation on it, some variation on that. Fundamentally, there's a fear. It's hesitation is a fear. The hesitation to surrender is a fear. And when we pray in this way, when we open ourselves to this possibility, when we inquire and explore this possibility of the true and everlasting fulfillment of our heart's longing, what is it that we see? We see our fears. We see our hesitation. We see our doubts, because that's all that stands in the way of our pure perception of the ultimate reality of unconditional love as already the case. So let's look at those doubts and the hesitation. Now, this doubt or hesitation, it manifests as a lot of different thoughts, apparently different sensations. Let's look at them. Just look in your direct experience. What are you afraid to sacrifice? Are you afraid to sacrifice your finances? Are you afraid to sacrifice your goodness? Are you afraid to sacrifice your righteousness? Are you afraid to sacrifice your health? Are you afraid to sacrifice your relationships? Are you afraid to sacrifice your home? Are you afraid to sacrifice your intellect? All these, and there are many more. You just look and see, what are you afraid to sacrifice? What are you afraid to offer? And then look at the justifications that you have for that. These are all thoughts drawn from memory. You don't have to be aware of the moments at which you took on these beliefs, but you might become aware of some of those moments. You might become aware that the voices that say these things aren't even your voice, somebody else's voice. Can you find your voice, your true voice? It's hard because your true voice is can't speak in your accustomed language. Your true voice is before all of that, before language, before the all the human languages. It's so pure and innocent. Your true voice is this heart longing, this heart desire. Your true voice does not know anything of the doubts and fears. Your true voice is that within you which already knows the fulfillment of this desire and only desires to sing it and express it. All of the doubts and fears, I want you to see this. Notice how notice what their actual nature is right now. All of them are peripheral. Stay committed to this heart longing, to your true voice, to this stillness, and observe all of the doubts and fears. See their true nature. See how they swirl around, but they never touch you. Scary faces, scary thoughts, scary ideas, scary sensations. Notice how they never touch you though. And notice how you have to look to memory to tell you what they mean and to tell you how they're going to hurt you. And see how all of this conditioning will take anything and twist it and distort it into more fear. That's what it does. It's a self-protective mechanism. So much so that even to fulfill that heart longing by surrendering pleasure, love, openness, purity, generosity, sincerity, authenticity, trust, faith, becomes twisted in this conditioning into a gripping, a fear, a contraction. Oh, but if I let go of that, then something bad might happen. Then I wouldn't be enough. Then I would be afraid. Then I would lose. I won't be cared for. Look and see what those lies really are. Those lies are saying the sun is not shining. Gravity is not working. All of our argumentativeness does not change the truth. The sun is shining, gravity is working. Our affirmations of truth, such as I am one with unconditional peace, does not create unconditional peace. It does not make me one with unconditional peace. It's simply a statement of truth. And what it does is it reveals all that is not true. Now, it's up to us to remain committed. All that is not true is shown to us as a way to answer our prayer. Our prayer is not, in truth, our prayer is not, I want to become unconditional peace. Our prayer is, I want to express the unconditional peace that I am. So everything that is not in alignment with that truth is shown to us so that we can see the false as false. So let's surrender and sacrifice everything, because anything that we can see, anything that we can taste, anything we can touch, anything that we can feel, anything we can think, anything we can imagine, anything that we can perceive in any way, is what we are gifted so that we may make the sacrifice. We are gifted our own delusion so that we can sacrifice it and receive our own purity, receive our own wholeness, receive our own okayness. Unearned, unmerited. There's nothing that we did to bring it about. It was already the case. We just see it clearly when we are willing to sacrifice, willing to make an offering of everything that we see, feel, taste, touch, think, imagine, even our desires. We're going to wrap up the formal inquiry in just a moment. As I told those who were here before we began recording, my schedule today is such that will be I will I'm choosing to be done with this meeting in just a moment. Let's make this transition one that we are aware, present, conscious, awake, a transition in which we sacrifice everything, moment to moment. Sacrifice whatever we think we gained, sacrifice whatever we think we failed at. See that all of those judgments and opinions and ideas, fears, anxieties, worries, all of those things are gifted to us so that we can release them like water flowing through our fingers, so that we can acknowledge their true nature. I cannot grasp the water in my hands. I cannot grasp this experience. I cannot grasp any knowing. I cannot grasp any experience of any kind. I cannot grasp goodness, and I cannot grasp badness. So whatever the experience is or has been, consciously make the transition by releasing it, surrendering it. It's an act of faith, and it's the fulfillment of that heart prayer. If your eyes have been closed, then as usual, open the eyes slowly so that you can do so with awareness. It's not because there's some, life doesn't have a need for you to open your eyes slowly. It's just for your own benefit. It's just so that you can make it easier for yourself to maintain the awareness. You can also tell a deeper truth, which is that nothing can harm this peace that you are. So like always, it's good for us to set ourselves up for the best results. So let's be gentle. Let's be truthful. Let's be patient. But let's also be so profoundly patient and truthful and gentle that we refuse to indulge any habits of self judgment, condemnation, fear, anxiety, worry, so that no matter what happens, let us see and receive ourselves as unconditional love. No, whatever judgments seem to arise, sacrifice them, surrender them instantly. The instant you recognize it, and even if it seems like it's been going on for hours or days or years, see the miracle that is happening presently when you are willing to release it, willing to surrender it, to give it to the divine, which is this very same stillness, very same peace right at the heart of your being. It's safe to release. It's safe to surrender. You are perfectly guided and protected, always. That is true. No harm can fall upon you. That is true. Whatever fears, anxieties may surface, surrender them. Know that you are truly perfect, truly in the perfect place, truly in the perfect time, truly protected. It's safe to surrender. The fears are that I may be destroyed. The reality is that you are. Be gentle. Thank you for joining today. I'm going to end the recording now.